What's up, Bulls Nation? Peck here from CHGO Bulls. We got a live pregame show on deck for y'all. Bulls in Orlando taking on the Magic on the second night of a back-to-back. Got a big NBA Cup win against the Wizards last night. Already have a win over this Orlando Magic team earlier on this season, including a 20-point comeback. That one, they had to fight through Paolo Banchero. He is out with an injury, but Franz Wagner has been balling. We're talking about that coming up next. Making moves. Yeah. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into CHGO Bulls pregame, presented by Coors Light, coming to you from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That is Big Dave. Bam! BNWL Sports. Bam! Will Gottlieb, perfectly coiffed, Will_Gottlieb, and still filling in for our Katie Duffy, who's over in Italia. The one and only Sarah Bear on the controls.
Hi. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving Eve to you.
Nice
we
shoes
just
also,
learned before we went live that the pie count is up to 7 now.
7 of them things.
Correct.
Which one is for us?
Ooh, don't put on
I'm
like
bringing Christmas cookies for the holiday party.
There you go.
That sounds fantastic.
That's pretty solid.
That sounds
We
fabulous.
will take that.
That's pretty solid. Where are you bringing us a pie, Goat?
Go pie.
I could. We got a couple weeks until
You can make a pie?
the Christmas party. I don't know. I've never tried.
Oh, okay. All right.
We should try to bake a pie together.
I'm down.
Wait, does our kitchen here have an
I have
oven?
an oven.
I don't think it has an oven.
No,
No,
it's not.
It's a kitchenette.
It has a microwave.
How-
Microwave pie.
Can you bake a pie in a
Microwave
microwave?
That I'm not sure about.
Only one way to find out. The answer's no.
But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try.
That's right.
Bulls have another game against Orlando on deck tonight. Thanks, y'all, for joining us in the comments live on YouTube. If you are there, go ahead and hit that like button. And while you're doing that, make sure you're also subscribed to our CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Quick shout out and reminder to you diehards, our Black Friday / Cyber Monday sale is already open to you CHGO diehards out there. Get them holiday shopping things done right now. And for those of you who aren't part of the Cool Kids Club yet, don't worry. Our Black Friday sale opens up late tomorrow night. Bulls Magic, we have seen this team already this season, but it was way early on, back in that month they call October. We'll revisit that game because it was a weird one. We'll take a look at what the Magic have been up to since then. Spoiler alert, they're on a roll. And before that, though, we do have injury news for both teams, so let's get to that now. The Bulls, from their official team account just about 5 minutes ago, confirming that Lonzo Ball is active and will make his return to play tonight after the absence with the wrist injury. Meanwhile, Jalen Smith ruled out with that ankle that's been bothering him sporadically throughout the first month of the season. And, of course, Patrick Williams also still out with that foot inflammation. But the headline, we're going to see Lonzo Ball back on an NBA court again tonight, Dave.
Yes!
Whee!
More Lonzo. This is good stuff. Having Lonzo Ball play for your team is a good thing. Not only if you're just trying to, be a Lonzo Ball fan, but if you're like, hey, you want to see if other teams might want to take a flyer on Lonzo. It's good to have him out there on the court. But I'm a Lonzo Ball fan and on the other side as well. But I just want to see him play. And I'm excited for him, man. Again, every time he steps on the court, he is making history. He is doing something that has never been done, coming back off the surgery that he had. So I'm very excited to see him walk on this floor and excited to see what he can do.
And he makes the team better.
Yeah.
He just does. Bulls are plus, wow, is this right? 22.8?
You stumped the GOAT.
Wow.
I mean, small sample size.
I thought it was 7.7 last time I checked. I don't know. I got to double check on that one.
Are you
But
talking about his minutes this season?
his on-off swing, yes. But he just makes the team better. He defends, he shoots threes, he moves the ball. That's what this team needs. They need a connected piece. And Lonzo is one of the best in the league, even in this state. So it's great to see him back. Obviously, this wrist could have gotten a lot worse. That's why they pulled him out. That's why they were so cautious with him, is because if he had kept going with it, there was a risk he would have needed potentially season-ending surgery.
Yes.
So it seems like that is behind us, that he is good to go. And obviously, originally it was 7 to 10 days that he was out. It's been a month. So they took their time with it, which is what they should have done. And yeah, it'll be great to see him back out there and contributing to this team and their development.
I'm ready for it. Let's see it, man.
Let's see it. I love how,
Put it with
meanwhile,
Montes.
the debate always raging amongst Bulls Nation. Chris
Rage.
X in the comments saying, tanking sucks, win number 9 tonight.
Okay, Chris.
And shout out to our guy, Prison Mike, right behind him saying, tanking sucks, but being forever mediocre is way worse. Count me among those on Prison Mike's team. Going back to injuries, Magic have some updates on their end. Paolo Banchero remains out with the torn oblique that, if y'all recall, he suffered halfway through the Bulls Magic game back on October 30th.
He did.
He was tearing it up in the first half, dropped 20 points in the first half, then looked a little fatigued or hurt or something in a much less effective second half.
Yeah.
The next day, the Magic announced, hey, he's got a torn oblique. He's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. So for the Magic's sake, you hope that timeline is solid and he comes back soon, because he was once again out of the gate this season, building on the already impressive season he had last year. I mean, Paolo's a beast. It's certainly in the Bulls' favor that he won't be out there tonight because he dropped 31 on him back on October.
Yeah, when they first lost him, you can see that they were, scuffling. They lost quite a few in a row, kind of lost their way.
They started the season 3-6.
Yeah.
And then I think that was game 2 or 3 for them or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, scuffling, trying to find their way. They found it. They got it together. Wagner was like, oh, yeah, this is mine now.
I got this.
And he just kind of took it over. Shout out to the coach as well. I think he's doing a great job with them, letting them find their identity without Paolo. So, yeah, Wagner's been great. We'll get into him for sure. But just want to give just a shout out to them and how they handled this kind of adversity with losing the main guy on your team this early into a season where you guys have high hopes and making a deep playoff run, and to lose your star, your all-star, your all-pro guy. Like, yeah, that has to be a little devastating. But the way they've stepped up and held it down for him has been really, really good.
And I think this small window, or 4 to 6 weeks, whatever it is, of Paolo being out, where Franz is forced into that role, is going to be huge for this team moving forward, because now you have a guy who has been the number one guy on a team and had success doing it. They've won, 5 in a row or something like that. They've been really great after, as you said, Dave, they kind of skidded after Paolo initially went down. So this is now Franz having an opportunity to be the number one guy, to prove to himself and to everybody else that he can be and succeed in that. And now whenever Paolo is able to come back, he can shift back into the number 2, where he's going to be even more dominant because you won't be able to load up against him because you're going to be worried about Paolo, who could score 50.
Yeah.
So this team is really dangerous. They're huge. They're playing 2 centers tonight. Wendell Carter Jr. is back from injury. He's had, I believe, plantar fasciitis for a couple weeks. They're still starting Goga Badatse, so they're going 2 bigs out there.
Interesting.
And the Bulls are going with 4 guards. So
yes, Bulls starting 5: Giddey, Kobe, Zach, Ayo, and Vooch. And you confirm that they're going Wendell and Goga?
That's what their Twitter account says.
That is fascinating.
Suggs, KCP, Franz, Wendell, and Goga.
Okay. And by the way, Suggs is also back after missing their game on Monday, dealing with a hamstring. So you got to deal with Jalen Suggs. Gary Harris is still out with his hamstring. But it's interesting that you just mentioned that, because I was listening to the most recent episode of Locked On Magic. Shout out to our guy Philip over there. Does great work. And he was having a very interesting conversation with himself about the Goga Batatze versus Wendell issue that the Magic are facing with Wendell's return. He's been out for a dozen games dealing with that foot injury. And Goga Batatze, as Philip was saying, has been really dutifully filling that role.
He's really good.
And, like in Goga's games as a starter while Wendell's been out, he's been putting up, not huge numbers, 9.3 points, 7.7 rebounds, but very efficient, nearly 70% from the field. An offensive rating of 126, a defensive rating of 100 flat, and a net rating of plus 5.8. Like, he's been playing very well. So it's interesting that instead of Wendell versus Goga, who gets the start, they're going with both out of the gate against a very small Bulls lineup.
Yeah, Goga's a really good player. He reminds me of Jakob Poeltl, where he's an incredible rim protector and just defensive player. He's a good rebounder, but he's also pretty good at facilitating. And he's not like spacing the floor out, but he's a good screener and he can kind of help drive your offense that way. And so you put him alongside Wendell, who obviously, is more of a stretch big at this point. He's got like a good mid-range jumper. He's developed a 3-point shot, but he's not really an on-the-block guy. So you can play those guys together, and obviously they're going to be big, and maybe that doesn't work against every matchup. But I just think Goga's a really good player. He was my number one free agent target for the Bulls this year. And obviously they went with Jalen Smith, who's been great, but he's actually out tonight. So the Bulls will be a little short-handed up front.
I'll ask you this question because I'm yelling at myself in my brain. Why, when you know this, do you start 4 guards?
Well, there is always a little bit of gamesmanship that happens between head coaches where they don't reveal their starting lineup until the Twitter account reveals it for you 30 minutes before tip. So maybe they didn't know that. But I think that this is just going to be an interesting battle of like big versus small, fast versus slow. Like the Bulls have an opportunity here with Giddey on Wendell Carter to really push the pace and get out ahead of them. And so if that works, then great. But look, you're without Patrick Williams. You're without Jalen Smith. You just don't have a lot of power forward-sized human beings on this roster. And you could go with Torrey Craig. You could go with Modest. But
Rob in the comments saying Modest better play at least 25 minutes tonight.
Yeah, he's right
against that Orlando front court.
So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Giddey has gotten a quick hook. He's been pulled at like the 7:30 mark in the last almost every game this year. So maybe he comes out early and they go to a bigger lineup. But it's not like you can throw Jalen Smith and Vooch out there together tonight because Jalen's not playing.
Sure.
Nope. And no more Twin Towers with Andre Drummond. He's gone. Yeah. How sad. But you mentioned the
I don't understand. I don't get it.
You don't get what? The fact that we're playing 4 guards against this?
I don't understand it at all.
I mean, I think that Billy Donovan has, if you try to interpret what he said about Modest Buzella so far, if you're talking about that being the option.
Modest or Torrey is fine with me.
Or Torrey, because back last week against the Bucks,
the dude walked in off the couch.
Torrey Craig got the start.
15, and then
trying
we never
to deal
saw
with
him
Giannis.
again. Yes.
So, maybe that's the case again tonight. Why don't you throw Torrey Craig in the starting lineup? He gave them solid minutes against Milwaukee. When it comes to Modest and maybe making that argument for like, hey, not only should you keep him in that rotation significantly tonight, maybe even consider starting him just for the sake of the size. Billy has praised Modest so far his rookie year, but also pointed out the strength factor of like, yeah, he's got great size and he's got great length. And with that, we've already talked about his shot blocking ability, but shot blocking and having the muscle and that kind of physicality to deal with a strong front court are different things. And I think Modest is still a rook who's pretty scrawny, who's getting worked from a physicality standpoint. I
don't mind that at all. Like, go ahead and get worked, but I know you're going to work a dude who's 6'4". Like, I don't care how strong he is. You're going to work that dude. So, yeah, put a taller dude out there, but maybe I'm just crazy.
Where's Javonte Green when you need him?
Where's Archie Diacono when I need him out there?
Archie likes to get under guys.
Struggles against small guys.
Difficult times.
I don't disagree with you at all. I think it could end up going really poorly, but I think the Bulls, it's like if you think about it in terms of like the Houston Rockets from like the 2018 era, where they had a style of play that they wanted to go to and they leaned into it all the way.
Sure.
And they said, Clint Capella, you want to be a rim roller? Actually, we want you on the bench. We're going to start Robert Covington.
Yeah.
And they're going to go real small and Marcus Morris at the 5. And I think the Bulls, they want to be fast. They want to be running. They want to be shooting threes. Like I don't think they want to, and this is just me speculating here. I just don't think they want to try to match another team's identity because they don't have the personnel to do that. And so their best foot forward is leaning into who they are and who they want to be. And that's playing Ayo and that's playing Giddey. And I mean, look, they just don't have a lot of better options out there. I think that plays into it too. But that's the unfortunate part of losing Patrick. I know a lot of people are frustrated with him. He's a power forward sized guy, and the Bulls don't have very many of those right now. I would love to see more Modest tonight. You could convince me that Torrey Craig is a better idea. I wouldn't disagree, but that's just my best guess.
Thank you for your best guess. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. It'll be fascinating to see. We're going to continue talking about tonight's matchup right after this quick message from our friends at Coors Light. And while we're doing that, hit that like button, y'all.
Beer.
Yes, please.
Oh, Matt's drinking it. Because between work, social media, and the choices life throws our way, it's no wonder we're more worked up. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn that rained out barbecue into the Will to Go Gottlieb and Will Purdue 13th annual karaoke / Thanksgiving house party? Or After a tough loss, settle scores with an ice cold peace offering. Make the choice to choose chill, then reach for a frosted cold Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment because when those mountains turn blue, oh yes, you know what to do. It's cold lager, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smooth finish. So when you embrace the chill mindset, go ahead and crack open that frosted cold Coors Light. It is crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Hurricanes.
There was an extra syllable in that one.
Yeah, in there. That's the Thanksgiving. Make your most out of your size to choose chill. Chew Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door via Instacart by going to ChGO Basketball. CHGO Basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company. Golden.
Colorado.
Rolling along, previewing tonight's Bulls Magic matchup. Shout out to everybody hanging out with us in the comments. Fish, Niles, Jeff, Lords Obey, Rob, everybody. Chris X saying points in the paint going to be ugly tonight. Did I say that right?
Well done.
Ugly?
I'm going to go with ugly.
Did you not think
I like
you know what
ugly as well.
Did you not think you knew what a ugly was?
Yeah, ugly.
So journeying back to the Bulls' win over Orlando on October 30th, points in the paint was basically even. 40 to 38. And the Bulls definitely have been giving up lots of points in the paint. Shout out to hashtag never forget. What was it? The Rockets game where they gave up 80 in the paint. And that in that game, if you journey back, not only did you get 36 minutes from Vooch, Patrick Williams played 30 minutes. And then off the bench, Adama Sanogo got nearly 10 minutes of run in that game. Mm-hmm. Julian Phillips, a little wiry, but still more size, got 14 minutes. And now tonight you're talking about not having Patrick, and maybe we'll see Torrey Craig get into this game. He played just 3 minutes against Orlando back on October 30. But the Bulls managed to hold their own, at least points in the paint, if you're talking about size and front court in that matchup. The other interesting thing is that, it was just a weird game because the Bulls got down big. Shocker. They claw their way back in. Ayo Dosunmu and Vooch really lead the comeback in the second quarter, branching into the third quarter. Yeah. They benefit from Paolo getting, banged up and not playing at 100% in the second half because the splits are pretty even. Points off turnovers, 15-13. Fast break points, 18-18. Bulls shot 43% from the field and 38% from three. The Magic, a little less efficient. 40% from the field, just 24% from three on 46 attempts. That was the difference in the game, in a game that the Bulls only managed to win by 3 points.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, Paolo just kind of stopped getting to the rim and started shooting a lot of threes.
He was settling for jumpers in the second half.
Because he was injured. He couldn't. And so that really changed the complexion. And that's why I said at the beginning of the show that I think that this period of time where Franz has to step into a 1A role is really going to benefit them, because as we saw in that first game, when Paolo didn't have it going, they had nowhere to turn to.
Very true.
And so I really think that this is a team that really relies too much on one guy. And now if you have another guy who's really expanding his game and turning into a, max player. He signed a max contract, and he's the way he's playing right now, he is worth every penny. And so for him to step into that role and kind of realize his potential and what he needs to be in order to give this team the best chance. Now you have two guys like that. They are going to be really good. Yeah. And they're doing way more than just staying afloat now at 12-7 with Paolo out.
Yeah. They are. Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I was going to say what I remember from that game definitely was Josh Giddey having an excellent game.
Just where I was going.
There it is. But also because when I was flexing with Will Purdue up in the BMO club when we was hanging out.
Oh, that was that game?
Yeah, that was that game. And Will Purdue and I kind of looked at each other after one of those plays Giddey did, and we were just like, oh, this guy's pretty good at passing the basketball. So yeah, I thought it was during that early on spurt by Josh Giddey when he was putting together some back-to-back, really impressive back-to-back games, and his three-point shot was kind of just out the wazoo.
In case y'all forgot, that was crazy. The night when Giddey went 4 of 4 from downtown on his way to 20 points.
No, it was absolutely crazy what he was doing from three, and it continued. After that, it's kind of come back down to earth really hard.
Wile E. Coyote
had the help sign up, but he went down. But he had a really good game against them. He used his size well because it's not like their guards are really, really huge.
Right.
Like Jalen Suggs, solid defender. But again, he's 6'8". Hello, 4 guards. So, yeah, like very curious to see how they, kind of match up against him tonight and what they're going to try to do to kind of stop him from having that kind of game again.
I just looked it up while you were talking. First 4 games of the year, Giddey shot 58.8% on threes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember? I remember that. We were all like, oh, my God.
Like, what?
Wow, if Giddey's actually a three-point guy.
Here comes Will's favorite part. They hate to tell you.
Since then, 28%.
There you go. There it is.
But for all the conversations we've had through the first few weeks of the season about Billy Donovan pulling Giddey down the stretch of close games in fourth quarters when they're trying to close or trying to get a clutch win, Giddey was huge for the Bulls down the stretch of this win over Orlando back in October. He hit a couple of key free throws. He had a great assist to Patrick Williams on that 3 that really just put the Bulls over the hump with less than a minute to go. So there's an example of Giddey helping the Bulls win a tight one late.
Yeah.
So never say I've never said anything nice about Josh Giddey. There you go.
He played well. He was playing very well, honestly, at that point. Hopefully he can get back to that because the league has caught up and his shot has kind of caught up to him.
A plus 11 in that game.
Yeah.
Good for Giddey. Now, shifting more towards tonight, you were just talking about, Franz Wagner picking up that slack in Paolo's absence and how much the Magic have thrived in Paolo's absence. And no knock on Paolo. They're just figuring out other ways to win, getting in line behind Franz Wagner, because the Magic are 9-1 in their last 10 games after a 3-6 start. In those 10 games where they have won 9 and lost just 1, take a look at Franz Wagner's stats. 27.6 points per game on very respectable shooting splits of 47, 36, 86, 7 dimes, nearly 6 boards, also contributing to this very lethal Magic defense with 2.3 steals per game and a net rating of plus 8.9. Franz Wagner really just said, oh, Paolo, you need some oblique rest time. You need a month and a half of oblique recovery time. Yeah. I got this.
Yeah.
What a luxury for Orlando.
He's playing like an all-star.
Yeah.
He would be an all-star if it was today. That's how great he's playing. 27, 7, and 6, is that what he said? I mean,
27, 7, and 6.
And they're winning games. Like, he is playing out of his mind.
Yeah. And I still think even when he comes back, he has a chance to make that all-star team.
For sure.
Because of the winning record that Orlando has. But, yeah, and, he's a feisty guy. He's a rascal. He's a feisty rascal out there. He likes stirring it up a little bit. He's that guy. He plays that kind of, love to hate me kind of role.
Yep.
Because not only will he talk that crap and play that way, he will hit those threes in your face and then tell you about it. Wow. So, yeah, that. He's got a lot of that stuff in him. And, yeah, he's just a really solid and good basketball player who has definitely found his role as the 2 on this team and knows when to take over. And that's back to your point, Will, of Paolo being out. And I think it being a good thing, you know what I'm saying? They're blessing in disguise, kind of, with Paolo being out. You kind of discover yourself as a team when you can't depend on that one thing. So him discovering, I can be the man and do it in this kind of instance right here when they really, really need me. That's going to be helpful come playoff time or when it's a close game later in the season.
And I feel like the part about him producing winning basketball is kind of important. We've said it a couple times, but like Magic are 12-7 right now. They're 3rd in the East. They've won 9 out of 10 games. Like, they're playing really, really well. And we know that they're an elite defensive team, but as I said before, they just didn't know where to go when Paolo wasn't playing his best last year. And you saw this in the playoffs. They just had no offense. And, like, they're an elite defense. I don't have any questions about that. But it was, where can you get that number 2 scoring from? And I think now, like, Franz knows where he's going to have to step up, and he knows that he's capable of doing it. I think that's a very scary duo at the top of the East here. Yeah. But the whole Eastern Conference standings, just looking at it now, it's kind of crazy. I mean, the Bucks are now 5th place after their start.
Yeah.
They're 500.
They found it.
They've won 5 in a row. The Knicks are in 4th.
You string a few wins together in the East, you can do some serious movement in those standings.
Serious damage.
Kind of wild.
And by few wins, he literally means 2.
Yeah. Watch out for the Bulls if they get themselves a 2-game winning streak.
That's why Paul George is still talking about, no, we're going to make a run. Don't worry about it.
Man.
3-13.
Philly is 3-13.
Bulls are 5-14.
But, I mean, you mentioned leaning on that elite defense, Goat, and it is truly elite. The Orlando offense, even with Franz balling, is nothing to write home about. They have the 25th ranked offensive rating in the NBA thus far, but the third best defense behind only OKC and the Houston Rockets, a defensive rating of 105.3. Taking a look at their defensive four factors, they're 7th in the NBA in opponents' effective field goal percentage. They're 3rd in the NBA in forcing opponent turnovers. They're 2nd in the NBA in defensive rebounding percentage. The one weakness of their defense when you're looking at their four factors is they do send their opponents to the free throw line quite a bit. 21st in the NBA at opponents' free throw to field goal attempt ratio. And another detail that we had yet to mention about that Bulls win over Orlando back in October, the Bulls went to the free throw line 25 times in that game. Orlando, in their own right, are good at getting to the free throw line. They are 5th in the NBA at getting free throw per field goal attempt. And can the Bulls maybe win a battle of the free throw line tonight? We know that they're not a big free throw shooting team. They like to get out and run.
Yes.
Orlando, one of the slower paced teams in the NBA, 25th as far as possessions per 48. Who can dictate and who can maybe get the better of their opponent defensively speaking to get some easy points at the line?
And that goes back to the question of why 4 guards. Like I think the Bulls have an opportunity here to really run them off the floor, and they're going to try. The Magic allow the 17th highest frequency of transition offense to their opponents. So 15.8, it's about average percent of opponents' offense comes in transition. That's middle of the pack. But what they're really good at is preventing that from being efficient. They're number 3 in defensive transition efficiency. So only allowing 106.8 points per 100 possessions on transition. So that's really good. So can the Bulls, they're allowing you opportunities to do it.
Yes.
Can you capitalize on it? And that's, I think, the big question for not only this game, but every game. I mean, that's the question for the Bulls is can they beat you in transition and run you off the floor? And our team is going to catch up to that and kind of understand this is who the Bulls are. This is what they're not only what they're trying to do, but this is their only path. So can we turn that off and force them to do anything else?
Matt, you said the Magic were 3rd as a team in defense, correct?
Correct.
Who's number 1?
OKC.
And how did the Bulls do against OKC?
Not well.
Who's number 2?
Houston.
How did the Bulls do against Houston?
Not well.
Okay.
I mean, it is crazy thinking back to this Bulls win against Orlando early in the season. It was 102-99. The only time thus far this season the Bulls have held their opponents under 100 points.
Yeah.
And one of the other wonky things about that game, after the Bulls climbed their way back in it after being down 20 early in the second quarter, do you remember that the start of the fourth quarter featured both teams not being able to hit the blind side of a barn? The Bulls and Magic collectively went scoreless for over the first 4 minutes of the fourth quarter with the game score 87-86.
I think it was more than that. Maybe not, but
so it was
certainly felt like more than
it was 4.5 minutes without either team scoring. Julian Phillips split a pair at the line to break that, and then there was like another minute and a half where neither team hit a field goal.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking. I mean, and again, like it'd be one thing. You always like credit the defense for whatever part in that they played, but we know that this Bulls defense is 25th in the league. So I think you can maybe, as safely as you can assume anything, which you know what they say, maybe that has more to do with the Magic missing shots than the Bulls forcing those misses.
Yeah, true.
But we also know that the Bulls aren't great offensively either. And so if they get into a situation where the Magic just hit threes at a normal rate, or they just have a normal offensive game and don't have a 7-minute scoring drought, then that game, their outcome is different. And that's, you can say that about so many games this year about the Bulls already. It's kind of crazy. Like they just have had multiple 20-point comebacks, multiple games where the opponent just completely loses their entire offense. I mean, it's just kind of wild.
I mentioned that the Magic shot 24% on 46 3-point attempts. It's not because the Bulls are a great closeout, defensive team on the perimeter.
Sure. But also, and I think the Magic were also kind of still reeling and finding out and getting used to how to do this without Paolo. That was right there in real time.
Yeah.
And so, I think they were figuring it out.
They were forcing up some bad shots in the second half. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll see what it is tonight, though.
We shall see. You got to assume Orlando out for revenge on that one.
Oh, they
feel like they maybe gave that one away.
They do not like losing to the Bulls.
No, they don't. No, they don't. And as we said, they are on a roll.
One more thing about this, though. So after the game, I remember we talked to Io.
Mm-hmm.
And Io said, I'm not going to lie to you guys. This game meant something because they swept us last year. So we wanted to come out and beat them.
Yeah.
And again,
And those were some ugly L's to Orlando last year.
They weren't close.
past couple years, they've had
Yeah.
some.
I mean,
And they let them know about it too.
But I think that tells you the mentality that the Bulls are going to come out with.
Yeah, should be fun.
One of them caused me to get in trouble with Bulls PR. That's how bad it was. All right, we got to get out of here. Just one more quick reminder. Hit that Black Friday sale. Early access to our CHGO diehards, who we love and appreciate so much. Up to 75% off certain items. 30% off site-wide in that All-City merch locker. Diehards, get your shopping done now. And sign up to become a diehard, and then you can start your shopping early. Or if you still aren't a diehard for whatever reason, no judgment, that Black Friday sale is opening up late tomorrow night.
Yep.
But you diehards, start shopping now, including that brand new Rose Forever logo, available in both t-shirt and hoodie. It's getting cold out there. We will be right back here for postgame live following Bulls versus Magic. Enjoy the hoops. Enjoy Thanksgiving Eve. We will see y'all in a couple hours. See you, be good.
Play modest.
Play modest.
Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.